All right, well, it's Saturday morning. We've put the front wheel on, and I'll give her a spin. You hit the brakes and show the brake action. Let it spin for a second. Okay, wow, beautiful, nice and solid, nice and solid. What I'll do this evening is I've left this rubber cover off, okay, and tonight I will put a bungee cord around this lever holding pressure on it overnight, and that will let me check out the different seals on the upper and down here on the caliper, um, just to make sure that there's no leakage. So pressure on it overnight. Right now we're going to turn the bike around, do another full test of the electrical system just to confirm everything I found last time. What, put the tank on?
Yeah, put the tank on, try to start it.
Put the tank on, see if she'll run. So that's next. Well, we have this 74 Norton just about ready for the first start. We've got all the oil in it. We've done everything to the bike that we're supposed to do to the bike. And at this point, we're going to try to start it. We already checked the slides, and they're clear in the carburetors. And I believe it was a running bike before we got it. But the slides sound good. But you still have to balance the carburetors before running the bike. Flash the light up in here and show these adjusters. See the choke and throttle cable adjuster on this side, and see how they are pulled out. Let's walk around to the other side and take a look at these, and you can see that these are substantially different. Let's see if I can get that to focus down. The other ones are way far out compared to these. You can actually see them here. The adjustment on the top of the carburetors is different. So the very first thing we're going to do is basically loosen up all of those adjustments and the adjustments up here at the throttle. And we're going to loosen up absolutely every single thing so that nothing is under tension from the throttle assembly all the way down to the carbs. And that making sure that the idle adjustment screws are all the way out so that the slides are bang down against the bottom of the carburetor. That's your starting point. Everything loose and the slides all the way down and slack in all the cables so that they basically are back to zero, null starting point. Okay, so that's where we are at this point. We're going to loosen everything up. All right, so we showed you that the adjusters on top of the carbs were different heights, and couldn't really figure out why. And this doesn't feel right there. Okay. But watch this junction block right here. Look at that. It appears that these two cables going to the two carburetors are different lengths. And that's not a good thing. So we've got to figure out why. At the same time, this is the splitter for the choke. And I'm going to pull the choke and see what happens. And that one pulls in before the other. It's quite possible that these short cables are intermixed, that the two that should be the throttle and the two that should be the choke are wrong. So I'm going to take all this apart. I'm going to take the caps off, take off the cables, and take off basically both cables completely, and put it on the bench and start examining the individual components. Okay, I have the throttle assembly removed, and I have the choke cable removed. I left the lever up there. But both cable assemblies are removed from the bike. So they're over here on the bench. Here's all the internal parts of the carbs, which I will clean before putting back together. Clean, shiny parts work better. And here are the two cables. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. They're laying there. And the good news is both of the secondary cables, the short ones, are the same length and have equal amounts sticking out of the ends. This is the throttle cable, and that's pretty much equal right there. A little bit different. Let's pull that all the way out. And with it all the way out, not, the difference is negligible. This is the choke cable. Once again, if I pull it all the way out, the difference is negligible. So that's good news. I will take this all apart and clean these cables and relube them. And up here, we can see this is the throttle cable, and this is the choke cable, and they're in pretty good shape. There was a worn spot here on the throttle cable, which I covered with a piece of shrink tubing. That's between here and here. And I'm going to take these apart, clean them all up, and lubricate them. Now, I only lubricate cables with lightweight oil. Never grease, never put grease in a throttle assembly. Use lightweight oil only, no grease. Repeat after me, no grease, lightweight oil only. So I'm going to start cleaning all these bits and pieces up. Then I'll put it back together and start the throttle balancing once everything is clean and well oiled. Okay, it's been a few minutes, more than a few minutes actually. I cleaned all the individual parts of the carburetors. Everything's nice and spiffy and shiny, and clean parts work better than dirty parts, so that's what I do. I clean parts. Now, the only thing that I'm really worried about in any way, shape, manner, or form is which slide goes in which bike, which carb. It doesn't really matter. They should be interchangeable, but after a few years, it's best to keep them where they came from. So notice that there's no overt markings on the bottom of this slide. But on this slide, if you look really closely, it's not there anyway. So where did I put the L? Huh, I know I marked one. There it is. There's the L. We'll just do a little zoom action here, and you can see an L right about there in the center. That's just the left carb. So I just scratched that L in there just so I know that this goes to the left carb. Not a crisis as long as they slide nicely. Anyway, I haven't cleaned these long sections yet. I'll show you how I do that in a minute. It involves forcing good old carb cleaner through the cables to flush out all the dead oil and grease and grime and nastiness. Over here, these are the four short ones. I forced the CRC through them until it came out clean, and then I've lightly oiled them, and they're ready to go back together. So they're nice and slidey. They're beautiful. So we're going to do the big ones next. Once we get those clean, we'll put everything back together. So what I did with these is I forced CRC carb cleaner through them until it came out clean on the other end, and then I oiled them lightly. What I have, which is difficult, you guys won't have one. This is a little bottle that was used for injecting ink into a printer, and I don't know how I got it, but I put lightweight oil in it, and then I can use it to put oil in these cables like this, and it works really well. So regular oil works just fine too, but I just happen to have that, so I use it. But good old regular thin oil is perfect for lubing these cables. Let's see if I can show you how I force the CRC through the cables in order to flush out the old lubricant and dirt. Hope you can see this. I hold it like so, put my fingers around it here, and try to make as tight a seal as possible. And squeeze. And if you can see the other end, and I don't know if you can, There's dirty grease coming out the other end. When it comes out clear, I know I've cleaned that, and you can just feel it free up. And do it again. And you can see the oil coming out of the other end. Do this section the same way. Try to make as tight a grip up here as you can. Once you've done that, you've pretty much cleaned out all the old lubricant. It's amazing how smooth these cables work. Getting rid of all that stuff that's in them. I'm going to do the other one, then I'll show you how I start putting the oil in it. All right. Amazing how easy they pull now. No drag at all. Okay, at this point, I'm going to shift the camera around. Okay, I'm still working on the long sections of the throttle and the choke. Just going to move these all the way down. Get them out of the way. Now I just cleaned them out with CRC cleaner, forcing it through until it came out clear at the other end. I got this tiny little injector bottle and I put the oil down in here 2 or 3 times, watching it disappear. Now I know you don't have an injector bottle like this, okay? I know that. I don't even know how I have an injector bottle like this. I have no idea where it came from, but I use it for some very, very thin oil, and it works great. You can also simply use regular oil, as in from your oil bottle, oiler. Just put a little right there, put it on top, do this, it goes right down in there. And it goes right down in there. And all you're doing is giving gravity the opportunity to let this oil go through the length of the cable. Okay? Be amazed, you can actually feel it freeing up. Now while we're here, I'm just going to do the top part like so. A little bit on either side. And as the oil gets down through it, you can feel it. You can feel it free up. Just amazing. You can also put this down like that and sort of fill it up like this. And then do this. And you can let this thing sit here for a few minutes and just feel the oil as it goes all the way through. And then after I let this sit for a while, letting gravity do its job, I'll turn it over and put some oil in from the other end so they can meet in the middle, so to speak. And the end result is 2 really free cables. I mean, that ain't bad. Can't beat that with a stick. So with all the cables cleaned and lubed, I'm going to now put the whole assemblies back together. I'll just let this one sit here while I start the assembly. Okay, all the cable segments are cleaned and oiled. The little splitters are cleaned and oiled. No reason why we can't put it together. The two ends go in here, like so. Then these guys fit on this guy, on the end with the little cups, like that, and like that. Okay. Like so. This guy goes in this end. And fits down the side here. Like so. Nice and tight. We will put just a tad bit of oil on these just for the heck of it, for slidey purposes, and put it all together. Okay, these are ready to go back on the bike. All right, I've got both cables reinstalled. Here's the action of the throttle, excuse me, the choke, okay? And if I can reach over here, I'll show you the action. Good, the throttle on this side. And everything's gone dark. Okay, let's hope that's good. Here's the action of the throttle on this side. And up here, if I can reach the choke. Good, you can see the choke is working. So I'm ready to drop these slides back into the carburetors, and then we will finally get to the point where we start synchronizing them. Okay, so after all that cleaning and adjusting and checking and I don't know what all, I've got the full system installed. You can hear that good, what we refer to as good click. Good click is good click. Let's see if I can show you the slides in here. They're coming up together, going down together. So they're nicely even. That doesn't mean the carbs are balanced yet, but I have the idle jets completely removed. I mean, it's not even in the carb on both sides. They're sitting down here. Okay? So now we've got the carburetors linkages balanced out, it turns out that one of these short cables was about an eighth of a turn shorter, longer than the other. So I took that slack up here. And that lets me have the slides be exactly the same when you pull the throttle. Then you come up here and you take a little bit of slack out up here so that you have, I gotta turn that, oh well, there. Just about a quarter of an inch slack in the throttle cable. Okay? Right there. Because you want slack in the cable. Slack in the cable is a good thing. That lets us snap. So we have a good throttle system. We have a good choke. I can't really show you the choke because it takes more hands than I have available, but I'll show you now that the choke is not engaged. Then I'll reach up here and I will turn full choke on and show you again. There's the choke hanging down there. Okay, I will pull the choke back up, and once again you can see down here with the slides up, no choke. So we got good synchronization of the carburetors so far. The rest is going to be setting the idle and then setting the pilot jet mixture, and we'll go into that in just a few minutes. All right, I'm going to put the idle screw in and set the initial idle screw setting. There are three ways of setting the idle screw initial setting. The first way is to put the underscrew in here and stick your finger in and press it up against the slide. And as soon as you feel the slide move, right there, I've just made contact. Okay? So I like to set it 1/2 turn, 1 turn. That's a very slow idle because when this thing fires up, I don't want it to run away. So I know it will not idle where I've set it, but it's close. Okay? That's one way of setting it. Now, if you got the air cleaner on, you really can't see that. Okay? So with the air cleaner on, what you can do is, so you feel it touch right there, and then go 1/2, 1. Another way is to let the throttle do it. Right there, you feel that? Now you turn it in, turn it in, turn it in, turn it in. I just felt it. Right now, it's hitting the screw. Right now, it's not. And right there, I can feel it making contact right there. Now I just turn it 1/2, 1, and I've set it. Okay? Don't know if that was 3 ways or not. Fingerful, visual, I don't know. Anyway, that's a couple ways of setting the initial 1-turn idle. You can also set your pilot screw at this point, screw it all the way in, come out 1/2 turn, 1 turn, 1.5 turns, and that's a good setting for your pilot jet. At this point in time, I'm going to call it a day. We will probably start the bike tomorrow.